people don't care about people. People care about more money than the people, but those people tend to lose business.
Selling the customer on what they need versus what they want is two different things, you know, because you want to ask them what their budget is without asking them what their budget is. But you can't sell customer service. You can't sell the experience.
No.
I don't do as much sales as I used to, but I still enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people.
I love how we could bring people closer to God through our businesses.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the Tiny Home Podcast. And today we have a special guest. He is one of the owners, delivery managers for Backyards and Beyond from London, Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
That is awesome. So tell us a little bit of how you guys got started, a little bit of background information.
Sure.
Let's go back 5, 6, 10 years ago.
Okay. Awesome. Wow. So I'm just 22, so I'm still young. But my dad was in insurance for several years. I think it's 15 years. And then he got out of that and had the opportunity to get into shed sales. And he started selling and then kind of brought it home to us and was like, guys, there's a huge market for this. And so I was just a junior a freshman or a sophomore in high school. I can't remember exactly. And he was like, how do we get involved with this? So he had the opportunity. We bought trucking equipment and all that kind of stuff, and put me in a truck. And even when I was in high school, so I'd get up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, go load some buildings, and then take it to school, go do my schoolwork, and then after that, I would, go deliver. So that's kind of how I got started in it. And Dad's kind of been the brains behind the operation, but we've learned with him though. It's kind of been a process that's took about, I think this is our 7th year in it. So,
wow.
And then as far as our own company, we started a year ago, last December.
So you're saying 7 years or 6 years ago, you started and you guys were working for someone.
Yes, sir.
Your dad started working as just like a sales guy.
Just a salesman. Yes, sir.
Really?
Yep.
So did he have a passion for sheds, or how did that all started?
Well, at first, when he first heard about it, he fell up to me. He was like, sheds? Like, really? There's not a market for sheds? He was like, that's crazy, And then he got into it, and then he started selling, and he was like, wow, this can go big quick. And so one thing progressed into another. And so that's kind of where we ended up.
And he did that for literally 5 years before even starting his own.
Yes. Now, he was a president of a company. He was in sales as just a sales position for about 6 months to a year. And then he got in contact with a guy who, he was blowing up sales. So a guy contacted him, and he ended up becoming the president of that company. And that was for 5 years. I believe he's the president of that company. And then we started our own last December. So
that is awesome. And tell us a little bit of how your company is going right now.
Man, Lord's blessed us. All glory to God for sure. It's a humbling experience. It really is. One day you'll be like, man, where's the sales at? And then the next day it's like you're overwhelmed. It's going really good. We're on record to hit about 5 million in our area this month, or this year, I'm sorry. We projected 4 million, but the way things are going, we're looking at 5. So we're
awesome.
Lord's good to us. We push a lot of volume. Average sales about 8,000. So we do push quite a bit of volume, but it's kind of one thing leads to another in that area.
Yes, God is so good.
Yes, sir.
It's amazing the day and night difference when you have a Christ-centered company and when you don't, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. I always tell everybody, and my dad's actually a pastor of a church as well.
Really?
So, and people in the church and stuff, I always tell everybody my favorite scripture is Matthew 6:33. And seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And I feel like, if you put God first and everything, man, everything gets better.
100%.
Everything's not as bad as what it seems to be on the outside. So,
and we're just talking about how faithful he is, right? He's never going to be early.
Right.
Never late, but always on time.
Right on time.
right on time, and I think it's so great.
Absolutely.
But coming back to when you were back in high school, when you started out, what would your friends tell you when you showed up with your truck full of sheds?
It was crazy. It was crazy. I had some haters. I really did. I had some haters. But then I wasn't the popular kid in school, but I was always nice to everybody, and I couldn't stand for anybody to not like me. So I always went out of my way to try to be nice to everybody. So they thought I was crazy, and it was like, dude, you got that in the trailer this morning? And I was like, yeah, well, I got up, and got it done. And the other people was like, dude, that's awesome. You're such a motivator. So I had kind of both sides there. And I had one guy even tell me, this is kind of a funny story. He told me, he's like, dude, because we just had put a lot there in London, and there had been a previous shed lot there, and they just didn't do no good apparently or something. And he told me, he's like, dude, you're not going to do no good there. He's like, I've seen shed lots there, and I think there was one or two there before. And then he's like, you're not going to do no good. Well, it wasn't a couple months back. He called me. He's like, hey man, are you hiring? And I was like, well, what about that? I was like, you thought I wouldn't do no good here? Which, like I said, it's nothing to do with us. It's all glory to God. But
100%. It's crazy. You just do the right things, and everything just kicks in place. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Do what's right, and God is going to take you to the right journey.
Absolutely.
With that being said, now that you guys have your own company, talk a little bit of what people say why you guys are different. Actually, you know what I mean? There's one thing what we say as individuals. Sure. There's things that our customer says, and I think that's what makes the big difference, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we've being involved with that other company, we've seen the ins and outs of everything.
Good and the bad.
Yes, absolutely, the good and the bad, and we wanted to be all good. So our slogan, I guess you could say, is enjoy the experience. So from the time they sign that dotted line, I think it was you telling me earlier, by the time they signed the line, that's when the sale starts, or maybe it's Kyler. But that's, our number one goal is customer service, and we want to go above and beyond. Seeing the inside and outs of the shed industry, I guess you could say, the good and the bad, it makes you want to be different than some, and wants you to be like others, So, I guess the main thing is different is one is quality, quality of a building, and then the customer service.
That is awesome. No one cares how much you care until they know how much you care about them.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, the slogan is so powerful when you live by it. It's kind of like,
absolutely,
it's kind of like the rules with, not the rules, but when you live by the Bible, right? It's like a lot of people talk about God, and a lot of people say, hey, this is what you should go through, right? Or this is how you should act and all this. But there's a big difference when you actually say something and you live it.
Absolutely.
So for example, our slogan is building dreams, transforming lives.
I love it.
Right? So when people ask me, what do you do? We build dreams, transform lives, right?
Absolutely.
And we mean it. And I think you guys do too. And that's the main reason you're here now. And we want to do a podcast because we share very similar values.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest things is, especially in the shed industries, now you drive through any highway and you see sheds, and it could be very transactional, right? Or, hey, I need a shed. You go down the lot, buy, pay, you're done. Something that we've seen as a difference is when people come in, we want everybody to know that they're family,
Absolutely.
We care about them, and there's a lot of things that we do, as a company. So everything started with the book of, Unreasonable Hospitality. Have you heard about the book?
I've heard about it. I've never read it though.
It's a great book. I would highly recommend it.
Okay.
And it always says go above and beyond for your customers. And that's what we try to do. And I love that you say that, because it really, we could take it for granted, but it really makes the difference in the industry. People don't care about people. People care about more money than the people, but those people tend to lose business.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And when you care as an individual, from another person, people feel that.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't tell you how many customers I've had come to the office, be like, hey, I went to so-and-so up the road and I just can't ever get in touch with nobody, or they told me this, but then it ended up being this and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Let me tell you what we can do for you.
Yeah.
And try to not upsell them, but you just be who you are, be original.
Yes, and the biggest thing is understanding the customer too.
Yes.
Because sometimes, I've been in the sales department as well, and a lot of it, okay, well, if I sell them something bigger, or if I sell them something that's worth more, I can get more commissions.
Right.
But those people tend to go to other companies because they know they're just trying to sell them.
Yep.
Versus understanding the real problem, what are the frustrations, what do they really need, and giving them exactly what they need.
Yes.
Don't go for the money portion of it, but go with their needs and understanding what they really want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There's 3 reasons, I think it was, in Grant Cardone's training, why a customer buys. Either they absolutely need it, or they just want it, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but I wish I did remember now. That's going to bother me. But and selling the customer on what they need versus what they want is 2 different things, because in our area, we have to, you want to ask them what their budget is without asking them what their budget is,
That's sales, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing is when you ask them up front, hey, what is your budget is, right? He'll tell you straight up, like, I'm not going to tell you my number, and then you're just going to try to be there.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
People know that. That's where the worldly ways have led to.
Yeah.
However, if you really understand the pain points and you really understand what the customer needs and assess that,
Oh, absolutely.
there's not a price tag to that.
No,
right?
You can't sell customer service. You can't sell the experience.
No. We go to a lot of trainings and masterminds and all kinds of different things, which I think has led us to where we're at. Now you're going with Grant Cardone. He's there's a hate-love relationship with Grant Cardone everywhere you go.
Everywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
I started with the 10X 10X book, right? I read the 10X book, and there's a lot of truth in it, and he's a very bold guy.
Very.
So people don't like that boldness, but if you really think about it, he's in the business of helping people.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? When as a salesman, it's hard, but there's a lot of truth in it. It's not about how the company develops, it's how you develop yourself as an individual.
Yes.
And that speaks louder than anything else, right? So when a customer comes in at your facility, how do you assess him and to know what exactly they need?
So the first thing I do whenever a customer comes in the office, I never ask them. It's kind of hard because, that Southern hospitality kicks in. You're kind of like, hey, how are you doing? Or, how's it going? Or something like that. I always try to stay, yes, I care about them, but they're coming to the lot for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So I always introduce myself, get their name, and I'm horrible with names. I'm absolutely horrible with names, but I always try to remember their name. And then once you introduce them there, you figure out what they're wanting, and then there's always an objection most of the time, unless you have a customer who's like, hey, I want this, but it's usually always an objection. Overcoming objections, which I'm sure you remember that's one of the most powerful things in all of that training. And then talking to the buyer or the decision maker, if it's the husband or the wife or whoever it is. So figuring out what they need is kind of figuring out their budget first I figure out what they're going to use it for. Once I figure out what they're going to use it for, then I offer them options. We have a lot full of buildings and stuff, and then where we own the shop, we can have anything customized or anything built within so much time. But figuring out what they're going to be using for is probably one of the most common things that I use to figure out what size they need to be around. If they're using for storage, storage, people have junk, so you can go anywhere from an 8x10 storage shed all the way to a big one. Oh, yeah. So that's kind of a broad one. But if they, like I actually delivered a building the other day, the guy was going to use it for a podcast room, and half of it was going to be a sauna. So, figuring I don't do as much sales as I used to, but I still enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people. I do.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, being a people person goes long ways.
Yes.
Right. Have you ever read the book How to Win and Influence Friends from Dale Carnegie?
I have it, but I haven't read it. Though.
Phenomenal book, and it talks about how you just got to be a magnetic type of person, right? If people like you and they trust you, you're gonna go a long ways.
Oh, absolutely. You got to get in their heart before you get in their wallet.
100%.
Yeah. If you don't get in their heart, you ain't getting their money.
Yeah, and it's crazy because before the sales portion came in, is like we didn't understand how it worked, right? But then you go to a car dealership or you go to different places, and when there's a real, like a guy that understands what the psychology behind sales, right? You just know they care.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's people that immediately, you got the BS detector, they call it. Yeah. You have the BS detector where the person is, maybe he's good in communication, but his heart is not there.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the big differences. And what I really want to know a little bit more of where exactly you guys could service, like what areas, right? Because obviously we here in Texas, and we service anywhere from like Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and oh my God, I forgot, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas. That's our 4 main states. We could deliver anything, right? Tell us what's your region.
So we deal with a rental company that's absolutely phenomenal. Shed Geek is absolutely amazing. They like, if we're doing a rent to own on one, we like to stay within 150 miles.
Okay.
We don't have a quote unquote financing yet. If we'd done something like that where it like goes against credit and stuff like that, I'd say we would branch out a little farther. But with the rent to own, we try to stay within 150 miles. Now cash, you know, I'll deliver. My brother actually, when I was on my way down here, he took one to Virginia yesterday, and it was, you know, pretty good ways over the 150 miles. But we have a location there in London, and then we have one right south of Birmingham, Alabama. And there they'll do, that guy down there, the delivery driver, he'll do his consistently within 200 miles of where he's at.
Okay.
Eventually I want to get that to change and branch out a little farther. I'd say it'll take time probably with more locations and stuff like that. And then definitely more drivers eventually, because I'm the main driver in our area. I have another guy subcontract sometimes, but it's everything we can do to keep up with where we're at, just at that one location in London.
Wow. So just to make sure that everybody's very clear, you're in London, and you could deliver 150-mile radius from.
Yes, sir. Yep, correct.
And then your second location is where exactly?
So Tuscaloosa is really where our lot is at, but our shop is right south of Birmingham. But within the area, I can't remember. It's a weird name, the town there where it's at. So when we'll branch out, we're around 150, 200 miles from there as well.
Okay. So can we say for all the public, it would be 200 miles from Birmingham?
Absolutely.
You could deliver. That is awesome. And you do sheds, only sheds right now?
Yeah, mostly sheds. We don't do anything finished out yet, anything like that. We'll put wiring and framing in it. That's pretty common, very common actually, more so than not. But as far as finished out anything like that, we haven't got that far yet.
Okay. But that's coming in the near future.
It's in the near future. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, we're definitely in the talks.
So if people are looking for a tiny home, go talk to these guys. They might make it happen. Let's push them, right?
Absolutely.
But as of right now, they could do a shell for if it's a home, they could do a shell.
Absolutely.
Framing and electrical.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if it's just a bare shell, which would be a shed, right? You could do anything from like an 8x8 to how big? What would be the largest one you could go?
So I try to stick around the 16x44 being the biggest. I can do 16x50s. I have a buddy of mine that lives in Virginia. The reason being is because my trailer is not big enough. My trailer only extends to 40 foot, and then I've got 4 foot overhang. So I can do a 44. But I got a buddy in Virginia that he says he'll come down and haul if we don't do a 16x50.
Okay. So if you're looking for 16x44, they're the guys.
Yes, sir.
16x50, they'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
There you go.
Absolutely.
No, that is awesome. So give us a little bit of your projections. What do you think you're going to be in the next 1 to 3 years? Where do you see yourself as far as like people to know? You know what I mean? Because, for example, let me give you an example. As right now, we have one location, which is here in DeKalb, Texas, right? We got a big manufacturer. People could come in and buy. We currently we're going to deliver one to Arizona.
Oh, man.
So it's a big one. It's a 16x60.
Okay.
So we could make a lot of things happen. We want to stay within the 4 states because we know everything about them.
Right.
Permits, deliveries, everything. We can make it happen. We've delivered anything from 8x8 before.
Right.
Now we could deliver up to 20x60. So it's kind of crazy on the road.
That is crazy.
Permits are crazy and all that good stuff, but we can make it happen, which is now we could do a home.
Yeah.
3 bedrooms, 2 bath, right?
That's insane.
It's pretty cool. There's people from all over the world calling us now. I had a guy from Canada call me like, hey, can you guys come do it? I was like, we can't yet, right? So we're in the same phase. So in the next 5 years, we see ourselves having multiple locations, not only in Texas, but we want to be basically, if you see the United States, we want to be like every 200 to 300 miles, we want to have a location. That way we can service every area. California is huge for us. They call us like crazy.
Really?
As of right now, California is one of the hardest states to get into, but that does not mean that we're not going into it. You know what I mean? but that's a 5-year projection, for example, for us.
Absolutely.
What is your projections?
So we want to grow with what we can manage. We don't want to grow too big to where we can't manage it at all. I've seen that happen before, and I've seen it fail. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. We want to do things the right way because we want to be lasting in this business. We haven't set as far as how many like states that we want to go to yet. We're mainly a family business, mainly. Of course, I have employees and stuff like that. We want to expand, absolutely, because when you expand, that means you're building dreams for everybody.
Yeah.
And then obviously, there's the money side of things as well. But that's not the main reason why we do it, anyways. But our projection this year compared to last year's numbers, we're going to do about 3 million more this year than what we did last year. So growing like that, when we first came on board, let me say this real quick. When we first came on board, our Amish guys had never built, and the one guy was all he did was he had a sawmill. So he had never built anything.
Wow.
So we had a lot of hurdles to overcome within our first year, but we made it happen. And so now that we're on pace and we got a better system, and starting from the ground up, you got to work out kinks, you got to work out numbers, you got to work out all those different things. So the first year up until now, it's been not fly by the seat of your pants at all, because my dad has built an incredible software system to keep track of everything. So working on all the kinks and stuff, once we finally got that done, now we're at the point where we're ready to expand.
Yeah.
We expanded into Alabama. We actually are in the talks we actually have already contacted the guy up there, and he's putting a shop in for us in Virginia.
Wow.
So that's new.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So as far as we want to be able to build the manufacturer, like have a really big manufacturer and distribute from that manufacturer to different lots within 100, 200 mile radius. So we're at the point now, we're actually I just talked to the guy that I subcontract for some of my deliveries is about to become a dealer for us.
Okay.
So that'll put another lot in our area. So we're kind of growing when we feel the growing pains and the need to. Like my shop will build more buildings than what I can sell, or my 2 shops there in London will build more buildings than I can build at this. So we was like, okay, now's the point to where we grow,
Yeah.
So we're at that point now. So
yes, and it's wonderful to start keep growing, because sometimes we overestimate what we could do, right?
absolutely.
So we say we serve our customers, but the truth is that we're not just serving customers, we're serving so many other people. Let me give you an example. In our back, we have a total of about 60 people building right now, right?
Wow.
Well, if you think about it, in the offices, we got maybe 15, 20 people. I have a whole team in the virtual team that is in the Philippines now. So total in the company, we're looking at about anywhere from 100 to 110 people as we're sitting right now. Well, now every single person has a family.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you just do the math, let's say easy math, every person that we have here has a family of 3.
Right.
Well, now you're talking about 400 people that are getting fed with the company like this. You know what I mean? And then plus the customers, plus their customers' families. There's a lot of people in between that are in the gap. And then those like our customers for the most part always bring someone else, refer someone else. And we just keep growing and expanding.
Right.
And I think it's very important for people to understand that, because the people that are in the business to make the money, they care about themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
They're self-centered.
Yes. And when we decided to go like a Christ-centered company, and we're actually going to be a company that lives for God,
Absolutely.
He's been blessing us every single time, bringing more people with us, and now we're trying to expand the kingdom. When I got here last year, I didn't go to church. I knew who God was.
Right.
I believed in God, right?
Sure.
But I didn't know. Now I go to church. My whole family goes to church. I had my mother-in-law and her sister come in a few weeks ago. I took them to church. They went home with the Bible, and we're expanding the kingdom of God. And I see the business as a conduit, right, to expand the business.
Absolutely.
To disperse the gospel in a sense. And you're doing the same thing in your business.
Absolutely. Which, yeah, and you being in the position you're in, you know, you never would have reached people or talked to even people that you would have if you would have been, you know, where you was before.
Correct.
So
yes, and I come from the construction background. So I started framing way back then, and then from framing I went to doing like remodels, and then eventually started working with heavy equipment. Right.
okay.
So I know what it means to be building and being in the back end and not understanding like a company values. And that's why we're so adamant here. And that's the whole reason we push all these content, because I know there's people that will probably never get to meet us. And there's people that probably not even in our area, probably not even in our country, but they're going to listen to the podcast and they can say, you know what, it's time for me to go to God. Same thing with the guy from the back. There's people, I mean, when you're in the construction, it's crazy because you think there's layers of people, right? Or I can't talk to the CEO kind of a thing. I'm not at his level.
Right.
Which here at this company, we try to make that completely off. Like here we're individuals, right? It doesn't matter the position you hold. It doesn't matter what you do. What really matters is you're a person and you need love too.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all human, you know?
100%.
I always was taught by my parents, you treat the janitor just the same way you treat the CEO.
And that's when everything goes long ways.
Absolutely.
Everything. So with that being said, what are you guys working on, or how do you guys are expanding the kingdom of God, for example?
So we actually, man, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. So we actually, my dad, my parents have always been in youth ministry our whole lives. Ever since we've been growing up, we've always been in youth ministry. And they were youth pastors for several years. And then we had recently stepped out, and this past October, my dad we started a work in downtown London, and my dad's a pastor right now, and there's lots of homeless in that area. And I wouldn't say lots of homeless. There's people walking down the streets. There is homeless. I mean, there's homeless anywhere, but that's kind of been, as far as the personal side of things, that has been an absolute, just nothing but a blessing of God, because we want to, first of all, we want to do business and we want to make money, and we want to do things right. But what good is money if you don't share it?
Correct.
You know, what good is, building up myself if I can't help somebody else? So we've had we've had homeless people come into church, it's right there in downtown. And, we've been able to help, so many people. And there's one couple who we've actually put in a house, and, they got their kids now, and it's just phenomenal. Nothing but the Lord. But with business, meeting different people, I have people all the time just because of my appearance. And it's like I said, it's nothing to do with me, just my appearance. I've had so many people say, "Did you go to church?" And I'm like, I do. I do. I'm very, very faithful to church. And it was like, well, if you don't care, can you remember me in prayer? Or can you pray about this? Or can you pray about that? And I feel like not only being professional in how we act and what we say, but being professional in every aspect of life, people notice that.
100%.
People notice. And when you, like we said earlier, when you connect with them and find common ground with them, before a sale, like I said earlier, you got to get in their heart before you get in their wallet. Making that connection, it's just amazing. And then, of course, always when people start talking about religion or something like that, I always love it. I always love it. Some people you can't talk that to, but other people who bring it up or something like that, I'm like, all right, here we go. It's about to get good. So, we love it, and it's nothing but the Lord's blessings.
Yes, and I love that you say that, because it's so true. You never know who you're going to have come in your doors, right? We had customers that come in our doors, and if you see on the bottom of our wall, the first thing is our core values, and Christ is number one, right?
Yeah.
And we had customers who were like, well, I don't believe in him, or whatever the case might be. Mm-hmm. But in the bottom of our hearts, we're so blessed because we know that person had a seed just planted in their heart, right?
Absolutely.
Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, they're going to remember us. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe one day, you never know.
You never know. 1 year
from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're going to remember, like, hey, I should have gone to church when I saw that first thing. You know what I mean? And that's what we're here in the world to do. Just plant those seeds and
absolutely
help out people.
Yeah.
And something else I love real quick. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
I love that you said that it's not about just making business or creating business and bringing money in. It's also the money you give out.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I would love for all the listeners to know. If you guys are looking to buy something anywhere, whether it's a shed, whether it's anything, local businesses, Look at those kind of things. Who are the people that are actually giving back, right? Because I think that's one of the main reasons we're blessed, right?
Absolutely. I don't doubt it 100%.
Yeah.
One man sows, another man waters, but it's God who reaps the benefits.
100%.
So yeah.
Yeah. I had a big problem, like an internal problem, tithing, right? Not because I don't want to tithe, but it was like, well, who am I going to tithe to? Because this church might not do the right. This person might not do the right. But me and my wife sat down one day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give to the first person that comes to my mind, because it's at the end of the day, it's the Lord stewarding the money.
Right.
Whether the church uses it correctly or doesn't use it correctly, I'm in a true belief, and I'm in that belief system that my money is being used, stewarded correctly and to right people. So now I just literally, there's moments where I feel in my life like, hey, it's time to give. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And give you an example. A few months ago, I was trying to give, and I had the amount I wanted to give, and I didn't know who to give to. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go to this local church and give. I go in their app and it didn't work. I was like, oh, trying to think. Well, there's this other place. Okay. I tried giving and it didn't work. And then eventually I was like, that's crazy, right? But I was like, I'm going to give no matter what. God, it's your money. You know where you want me to give. After trying like 5 different things, one just kicks in and it goes through. It's like, it's crazy. And honestly, I had something in my heart being like, there was a reason those other apps were not working.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? There's a reason. There's probably this money's going to bless someone. And now I just think about those kind of things. Like, I'm just so grateful for having that amount of money to give. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's crazy because we see people that are millionaires, especially when you're in business, right? You go talk to companies that are, oh, we did $50 million in revenue. We did $100 million in revenue, and all these different companies. And one of our coaches, does everything, you know, does like, they have different organizations that they help out with. Right. And now it's like, okay, the real numbers is how much do you give back?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So if we want to have I don't know, $10 million business, we're going to have a $50 million business or $500 million business. Okay. Well, how much are we going to give back? Right.
Exactly.
Don't talk about revenue. Don't talk about profit. Let's talk how much money you're actually giving back.
Exactly. Oh, I agree with that 100%. And I feel like the world would be a much better place if that's how everybody lived.
100%.
Because I mean, God blesses those, you know, God loves a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
And paying tithes and stuff like that. I got behind on my tithes about a year ago or so. I got behind on my tithes, and then I had to pay this chunk down, and I was like, ooh, that's going to hurt. Then at the same time, I was like, no, it doesn't. God needs that money more than I do, you know?
100%.
So yeah, absolutely.
And matter of fact, our mentor, they grew a business to, I don't know, 2.3 billion exit cap or something, and they came and gave all their money away and started from scratch, and they've been blessed time over time. Man. And those are the things I like for people that don't believe, you know what I mean, which I didn't believe in at an important time, and I see that it's like, now that's who I want to become, right? And now with these types of businesses, I mean, think about it, something that starts just like a shed, right? Something that's going to store stuff. Yeah. And it could be, honestly, a lot of people who actually store trash, right? Things that they're never going to use, things that they could throw away. But there's other people that can use a shed for a shelter.
Absolutely.
Right? There's people out there that don't have money to rent, don't have money to own a house. They have $200-$300 for a shed on a rent to own basis, right?
Yep.
And we take those things for granted.
Oh, absolutely. And we're so blessed.
Yeah.
We're so blessed. I'm sure you guys know Sam Byler. He's headed up that over there in North Carolina with all that flooding and that hurricane that came through there. And, you know, all those sheds that were donated and all that, you know, we got to be a little bit of a part of it. We got to haul some down there, and, man, it's just awesome to see. It's a very humbling to see, because, you know, those people, they have nothing now.
Yes.
And, you know, they're going to use the shed or use the cabin, whatever, you know, to live in. It's going to be their shelter. So
yes. And I think that's one of the things that I love the most about this type of business is we delivered sheds, literally sheds with exposed wires, exposed water pipes, right? To basically acceptable for people to start living in. People that don't have nothing.
Right.
And we've delivered homes over $250,000 where they're the fanciest of the fanciest.
Right.
And sometimes it's just more grateful to see the little buildings going out because those people are like restarting their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and most of the time, not all the time, most of the time they're the one that's most excited about it,
100%. And they're the most grateful.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I sold a building, one of my buildings. It was a 12 by 24 open model to this lady. And I mean, I went out there and there was a paper that she needed to fill out. We couldn't get I couldn't reach her or anything. So I was like, I have to go out there. If she doesn't sign that paper, they're going to go pick up the building.
Right.
I get out there and I'm telling you, it's a very bad area, right? There's homeless people everywhere. Her house is in a rough conditions.
Yeah.
As far as the homelessness and, there's drugs all over the area and everything. But, she tonight, like, she texts me every once in a while, like, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I want to get out of this, type of world and all these kind of things. And it just breaks my heart to see those kind of things, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't understand how that works because we go out there and we see the homeless people and they're like, well, they don't want it. They don't want to find a job. They don't want all this kind of things. And it's true, but there's a percentage of people that actually need the help.
Absolutely.
And that's
you can't help somebody who don't want it.
Correct. I think that's the hardest thing to understand. Like, you cannot help everybody, but the one or two people you actually help changes the world.
Absolutely. And you're always planting seeds. Always.
Yes. We were talking last night, we were in prayer at church and the preacher was talking about taking cards, right? Church cards. And he's like, you never know who actually needs it. He's like, I have them in my pocket and every time I see someone, I invite them to church, right? And he's like, coming to church today, he's like, I was running a little late and I'm the pastor. He's like, I have to be here, right?
Right.
But there's this metal building that they're building. He says, I've stopped and talked to the guys a few times and it was just like, hey, how's it going kind of a thing, right? But yesterday, he's like, the Lord just gave me something to stop by and he stopped and the guy's like, hey, matter of fact, can you pray? My wife in very tough conditions.
Oh, man.
And that just broke my heart. Like, it's so true. So many people need prayer.
People are broken.
And we don't give it to them, right? And I think, I don't know, I love how we could bring people closer to God through our businesses.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's probably the biggest.
Being different.
Yes. That's probably one of the biggest differentiators that we don't even use it in the marketing space, right? Like I do a lot of the marketing part and there's a lot of things I try to avoid because I don't want people to think that we're fake or we're trying to do it the fake way.
Sure.
But I encourage every single person that thinks that we're fake, come to our facility, come and meet us. Same thing for you. If you think they're fake, go and meet the guys, right? Meet everybody. Absolutely. And you can, I don't know, it's like I said, the BS detector can stand up real quick when you're fake. But when you're real, you feel that.
Oh, yeah. You can't deny it when you're there. You can't deny if it's real or not.
Correct.
You just
I
know.
love that. So give us a little bit more context about your business and how can people reach you guys? How can they find you if they're looking for a building?
Sure. So my brother is mainly the face of the company. We have Facebook pages. We're working on our website. We've been in the works for that for a while now. It's been a slow process, but we're still working on the website. It's almost completed. But main thing is our Facebook page is Backyard and Beyond, and then my brother owns a page that's called One Stop Shed Shop.
That is awesome.
So he's got a lot of his on there. That's where he creates his following, I guess you could say. So that's kind of where we're at as far as the website goes. Is kind of been a slow working process. But Facebook is our bread and butter, really.
Okay. Can you repeat the names of your Facebook pages?
Yeah. Backyard and Beyond, and then One Stop Shed Shop.
Okay. And then you got your personal pages where people can actually go and look at you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't post as much as I need to on there, but yeah, we do our personal pages. My brother posts a lot more than I do, like I said, because he's kind of more that side of things. But his name is Isaiah, and he posts all the time. So
So I'll be adding everything on the bottom. So we're going to have links and everything so people could go check you guys out. And said London
London, Kentucky.
London, Kentucky, and Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
So those are your 2 locations. Let's say 200-mile radius, you're good to deliver,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Currently you do sheds,
Mhm.
but we're working to getting some tiny homes out there.
We're working on it.
And that is awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, anything you guys ever need, feel free to call us. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're here to help.
You guys are awesome.
And the same thing for everybody else. Guys, don't hesitate to reach out to us, whether it's us, whether it's them. If you guys don't find them for any reason, we could always help you, right? And that's about it, man. I really appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. You guys are doing amazing things. I've been following you guys for a long time, and it's very, very enjoyable to meet you guys and have a conversation with you.
That is awesome. So guys, if you like this podcast, please share, like, subscribe, share it with someone that needs this podcast. You never know what everybody's going through, right? So
Absolutely.
if you need to pray for someone, just do it. Thank you so much. Ready for the next.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
God, I'm still counting my blessings.